If you have anything to say, go ahead and do it.
Hi, my name is Peyton. I'm coming at y'all from the North Georgia Tennessee line, and I have the extreme honor of introducing one of our teammates tonight, and she is going to talk to y'all about a book that was just released by Josh Coates. Some of you know that I am like obsessed with Jessie Lee. That is my person. I love her. I've been following her for almost 4.5 years. Josh Coates is Jennifer's person. She like dives deep into what he has to say. So take it away, girl.
Okay, guys, this is actually a best-selling USA Today Wall Street Journal book. It is Josh Coates, The Best Version of You. Everett wants to say hi real fast.
Hi.
It's the best version of you, how to coach yourself and others to the next level of success. And when I started reading it, I was like, wow. He said he wrote this book. He wrote a book called Book Leadership that was inspired by all the times he had heard people say things like, Josh, I don't know how I can become successful because I'm not a good leader. 9 times out of 10, they're using the idea of leadership to replace something else that they're insecure about and didn't know how to be honest about it. So, how many times do you say, hey, I'm not a good leader, but really you're insecure about something else? So he wrote this book addressing all the things it actually takes to be a leader, to set the record straight. So he poured everything into this book and was proud of every single moment and every single word he put into it. So let me keep going. There's so much emphasis on morals and such little emphasis on life lessons that even though people in church, okay, let me go back a little. He said, one day I came across a podcast in which John Maxwell was being interviewed. J Max, as I call him, was the name I heard my entire life growing up in a very religious household. My dad had several of his books, but it wasn't in the reading, so I wasn't into reading. So I never had those books. I never knew what those books were about. As I listened to this podcast, I thought to myself, this guy stole my dream. He had found a way to take spiritual and growth principles and apply them to principles of living. One of the things that bothered me the most about religious circles I grew up in was watching so many people take the Bible and their beliefs in God and use them to manipulate others instead of empowering people. There was so much emphasis on morals and such little emphasis on life lessons that even though people in my church wanted to make a difference, no one knew how. I watched an entire generation of people in their 60s still complaining that they had a dream to reach the world, but they didn't feel like it was God's timing yet. As a 25-year-old, I had realized this was bullshit. That's just how he speaks in this book, guys. It's Josh. In spite of my own fears and insecurities, I stepped out and started a band to travel the world and chase my dreams. I didn't want to grow old, still dreaming about what life could have been. A few weeks after finding the John Maxwell podcast interview, I saw an ad for certification training. I could get certified as a life coach, speaker, and leadership trainer. I wasn't even sure what any of that meant, but something said to me, I'm going to do that one day. Fast forward a few months, and one of my spiritual mentors, Cookie, asked me, Josh, what do you want to do with your life? I told her I wanted to somehow combine spirituality and motivation, kind of like John Maxwell, I said. Cookie said, I have a personal friend who is on the President's Advisory Council of his certification program. Say what? I could hardly believe it. How could this be real in my entire life? So, he got where he needed to be. But let's see here. As he went on, he hired self-publishing companies. He wrote books. All the hype, he felt lost. He spent money promoting himself. And then he said, I realized that this was going to be a tough battle. And I also realized the worst version of me didn't stand a chance at all. If I was going to get myself out of this mess, it was going to have to be the best version of me. Now, let me just say that all these problems are not fixed in 1 month. Let me remind you that prior to this, I had spent 6 years working on the best version of myself and growing my business. 6 years. Not everyone has built a business successful enough to make big tax payments with a few sales. You might be trying to grow a business from scratch. You may be trying to lose significant amount of weight. You may be trying to heal from a bad relationship. I can't promise to make any of those. I can't make any promises on how long it'll take to fix your problems, but I can tell you this. Whatever you're facing today, no matter how long, how big or small, the worst version of you stands no chance. If any version of you can fix this mess and crawl out of the space, it's the best version of you. I've always said that we are all about 3 to 6 months away from either the best version of ourselves or the worst version of ourselves. If you're broken, you can find incredible healing within 6 months of sewing into your best self. And no matter how successful, happy, powerful you are, you can turn back into the worst version of yourself in as little as 6 months by ignoring what you did to get there. You would be amazed at how small your problems really are compared to the power you have living inside. The problem is that most people have spent much of their time ignoring and hiding their best self. Hiding from their best self, that they become something that is far from their true self. Your worst version is constantly over exaggerating everything you're facing in life because that version is just so weak and powerless. Your worst version sees scarcity where the best version sees abundance. Your worst version sees problems where your best version sees solutions. Your worst version sees fear where your best version sees challenge. Your worst version sees all of your weakness where your best version sees all your strength. So when you're in your business and you're not making sales and you're not getting customers and that is the worst version of you when you're focusing on that. You need to get to the best version of you where you are seeing those customers. You need to find what you're doing and what you need to be doing, because there's something that you need to be doing in order to get to your best self. Now let me keep going here. Imagine if you could become more aware of your potential than you are of your limits. Imagine waking up each day with confidence and feeling fully equipped to take on every single challenge in your life that your life has to offer. This isn't some type of positivity message that teaches you how to avoid your problems and pretend everything is going to work out. I'm talking about tapping into your inner potential, the version of you who knows how to solve those problems, not avoid them. My goal is to teach you how to become consciously aware of every good thing that is already living inside of you and to use that to overcome your doubts, face your fears, and live beyond your insecurities. This book is to help you discover your dream, chase your dream, and eventually live out your dream. And then as a result, you will have the tools you'll need to help and coach others to find and live out the dreams. And honey, that was just the beginning. That is not even chapter one. Chapter one is the law of ownership, and I'm going to get here really fast. The first chapter, he was talking about the law of ownership, talking about how he read John Maxwell's book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. The first chapter was called The Law of the Lid, and basically it explained how we have a lid on our level of leadership and that our success in life is dependent on the ability to learn, improve, raise this lid to another level. In other words, if your leadership level is currently a 4 out of 10, the only way to become more successful in life is for you to learn to develop skills to move to 5, 6, and so on. In the moment, he goes on to talk about how he was going to church and playing guitar. And he said, in that moment, I realized that I've been surrounded my entire life and always blamed others for my lack of growth and success. And then he says, in that moment, I realized the most important thing I could possibly pass on to you, that the entire mess that felt so completely awful and unfair was my fault. You can't go off blaming people for things that are your fault. Anything that happens is you can't blame that on others. I had created the mess, not anyone else.
Well,
I am the one. Go ahead.
I have heard like before, you wouldn't give the glory to your upline for your successes. So why do you blame your upline for your failures?
That's exactly right. He said, I had created this mess, not anyone else. I'm the one who chose not to go to college. I'm the one who chose to keep detailing cars instead of taking a job in the graphic design that paid less but may have created more long-term opportunities. I'm the one who started up with my own business on several occasions but quit after a month or two when the excitement wore off. I had created the mess. But here's the good news. If I was the one responsible for creating the mess, it also means that I was the one who could fix the mess.
Mm-hmm.
Only you can fix your mess. I didn't need to wait for the perfect time or the right opportunity or some type of lucky break. I ultimately had the power to create whatever I want with my life, with the choices I make and the chances I'm willing to take. I made the promise right then and there that I would never blame anyone for my lack of success again. From then on, I would take full responsibility for everything in my life. If I didn't like something in life, I would learn what I needed to learn and do what I needed to do to fix it. That you need to remember. Write that down. If I don't like something in my life, I will learn what I need to learn and do what I need to do to fix it. Even if I don't know how it was my fault, I will still own it. Because that word means so much more to me. I have to take ownership for where I am, but also where I eventually want to be. You might be in a terrible financial situation. I know that one. You might have a business or a career that is failing, or you might have a relationship that is broken. You might be experiencing incredible success, but still feeling stuck. I have found a high performers tend to do enough work to get to the top of the mountain and then sometimes feel lost wondering what's next. Wherever you are reading this book is the start of taking action and becoming the person that creates success after success. You are about to learn that you can take the next step and keep stepping. By taking responsibility in my life, I was able to build a multi-million-dollar business, even though I only made 2 sales and a $500 in the entire first year. So he made $500 in his first year, and he was able to build a multi-million-dollar business off of it, guys. He said one of his mentors taught him that you really need to have a killer offer. And he was going off and talking about how he he had asked each of the people he wanted at his little mastermind thing at first to donate products to give away. And then he would purchase more for the people who bought his program. The idea he would have to serve cookies and coffee for free, and then at the end he would offer a pound of coffee and a dozen cookies as a bonus. But in the end, that didn't work out because he also made a deal with another person that he would include their business, and it just didn't work out. So he said, Everett, don't. Well, you're going to have to wait. Everett, you're moving my camera. This is recording. The hardest part of the law of ownership is when you feel you've done everything you know to do and it still isn't enough. But I decided to trust. I decided to at least admit that I didn't know what I didn't know, and that meant I needed to learn more. So I bounced back with fire and decided to do virtual versions of the event for people out of town who couldn't make it. I had to move a few times in my life, so I had friends in Kansas and Missouri, and maybe some of them would listen. And they did. He got several different conference calls because there wasn't Zoom at the time. And his first mastermind study got him $800. He said, "Do you want to hear something crazy? Looking back, it is so easy to see why my first event sucked so bad. I did all the right things, but I just didn't have the audience of paying customers yet." And I want y'all to listen to this. I was trying to sell to people who were friends and family. Most of them didn't have $250. Most of your friends and family don't want necessarily to buy from you. The ones who didn't want to spend 6 weeks being mentored by their brother, brother-in-law, or coworker. I couldn't see it then. That is why the law of ownership is so important. There are so many things that your future self will see as so obvious. If you aren't careful, you are so attached to the results you want today, you're going to miss the chance to learn the lesson that you need to learn. in order to get the results we want tomorrow. I could have given up. I could have said, I don't want. I mean, I did everything they told me to do and it didn't work, but I chose to trust the process of learning and growing and growing would give the answers I needed in time. And that's what this entire book is about. It's about it's learning to take ownership and trust that the lessons will be revealed in time. You aren't going to get what you want today because you want it. It's wanting it, that just wanting it isn't enough. You have to be willing to fight for it. Most of the time, the fight will happen inside your own head and heart. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to figure it all out, but you do have to invest time, energy, and patience into becoming your best version of yourself. The best version of you will figure it out. And down below it says, I am the only one responsible for the mess of my life. If I am the only one who created the mess, then I am the only one who can fix the mess. If you make the decision right now to act on what you read, your life will change forever. You need to know, and wait, you don't need anyone else's approval. You really need to stop looking for their approval. So that was chapter 1 in the beginning of the book. What do you think?
Sorry, I was muted. I love it so much. I love it so much that it started off the way it started because hang on. I have really horrible lighting in here, but I love the way it started off the way it started with him being in church. Because a couple of weeks ago I was talking about how I have seen a direct correlation between network marketing and the Bible.
Yeah.
Like direct correlation. And it's like I'll learn something on Mondays or Tuesdays or Wednesdays, and then on Sundays my pastor hits it home by tying it into scriptures. And I'm like, the first time I was like, that was so cool. The second time I was like, that was really, really cool. The third time I was like, dang, I'm really resonating here. And like the 17th time I was like, okay, I get it. It's like directly tied to each other. I get it.
I believe his dad was a pastor.
Who, Josh Coates?
Yeah.
Maybe that might be why he speaks the way he does. But I love that. One of the things I was talking about last week was don't be intimidated, not to let people intimidate you. And Josh Coates there was a couple of times there where he could have just thrown it all in and been like, all right, here we go, like I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't. And he is a great coach. Some of you may or may not know this. On August 14th, earlier this month, I lost my earthly father. And then 3 days later, my mother has gone in for something, and we haven't gotten the test results for that. And that morning, Facebook decided I was an evil pirate and deleted my account over 12 years. So I really could have just been like, you know what? No, I'm done. But instead, I contacted Jennifer Scott and got her to add me to things again. I made a new email, a new Facebook account, new link tree, which is great because I needed to actually make a milkshake for.
You needed to start over.
I needed things to be cleaned up. And I wasn't the type of person that was ever going to unfriend 1,000 people or leave 100 groups, and I needed to. So the
Tell
fact of the matter is, yeah, it sucked yesterday because I had to I went and searched Bella because we have that huge Ready in 5 sale going on right now. And I was like, oh, and I went to search Bella in my messenger, and 2 conversations popped up, and oh.
tell them about Marketplace, how that's working for you.
So one other thing I've realized is with me making this new account, it only allowed me to place one marketplace ad per day so far for a week. I think tomorrow it might be a little different. We'll see. Also, with that said, I have had on average, I had almost 1,000 ads, and on average, I would have about 10% of clicks. And right now, I think I have 6 ads, 7 maybe.
6.
And I have 220%.
Yeah.
So
Delete all y'all's Marketplace ads and
delete
start over.
everything and then start over. And that also will help you because for some reason, I guess everyone's using the same descriptions again. So I'm gonna have to change my description and just keep it to myself. I highly suggest
You
y'all
gotta tell me what it says.
and keep it to yourselves, because when everybody uses the same description, it's going to shut all of us down because everyone is getting the we're going to shut you down email.
Right.
So in order to combat that, delete everything. And then when you start fresh, make it with your own description. I love y'all so much, and I appreciate y'all. And if you've made it this far in the video, drop the word pirate, because
Whoop,
I'm
whoop.
a pirate.
I'm a pirate.
Arr.
Arr.
Arr.